Hello, and thank you for joining me. And this is your teacher, owner, and operator of SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services. And in this small snippet, we are going to discuss the ceiling plan for our series of our study of the plan reading basics. Okay, so now we're looking at the ceiling plan. So it's from the plan view, the view from above. And the ceiling plan is going to tell us all about our new ceiling construction. And so for commercial, the typical ceilings are going to be acoustical ceiling tile, which is represented by these lines that represent either the 2x2 tile or on this side, the 2x4 tile. And each of the rooms, it's going to have a ceiling tag or room tag, ceiling tag that's going to tell you two things. It's going to tell you the type of ceiling finish, and it's going to tell you the height of the ceiling. Not necessarily the height of the stud, so don't confuse the two. It is the height of the ceiling. And so on the ceiling plan, we're going to see everything that's going to go in the ceiling. Not only the ceiling finishes, but then we're going to see all of the HVAC supply grills represented by the X, all of the lighting fixtures and where they're represented, because the ceiling finish person needs to know, okay, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 10, 12, 15 less 2x2 tiles because why? We have a grill in there, or we have a few of the tiles that need to be fitted for casings for the lights. Okay, so when you see the ceiling plan, you're going to see everything that's on the ceiling, that's represented on the ceiling, and it's typically for reference only for this whoever's installing the ceiling finish. So ceilings again for commercial will have a 2x2 acoustical ceiling tile, 2x4 acoustical ceiling tile, and then we'll usually have some some gypsum or drywall, right? So this is saying that this is a drywall ceiling and the height of the ceiling is 8 feet above finished floor. Okay, now always have to take a look because here on our ceiling plan, we also have a section view marker. And what is that? Well, it's telling the ceiling contractor, whoever's installing the ceiling components, that there is some other view you need to look at because the construction of the ceiling is a little different. And so we're always going to take a look at that. So we're going to look at image number 1 on A103, which is, this is page A103. And now this is image number 1. So in terms of our framing, because this is for our, our framer would need to know this information. So you would have to break this ceiling construction down in the most practical way in order for you to make measurements and to determine a cost for this. So we're basically just looking at the menu board that's represented here, and it's basically a wall coming down from the ceiling joist as opposed to the floor plan where the walls come up from the ground. Same concept, just coming down from the ceiling. And then here on the right, this is the bulkhead. That is basically two walls, right, coming down from the ceiling. And then in between, you have a flat surface like a ceiling. And so you would break it down in those two ways. And so how we would break it down, anytime we have a wall, we need two dimensions. What's the height of the wall? What's the length of the wall? And then we can determine the ceiling framing for this set or this section of wall. We know the height is 4 feet, 10.5 inches, and the length corresponds to the menu board, which is from the plan. We can measure here. That's the menu board length, and I think that's about 20 feet long. So 20 feet times the 4, whatever, how many square feet of that menu board framing you'd have to construct. And so you break it down to the framing. It looks like you have the top plate. That would be that same 20 feet, right? The bottom plate, same 20 feet. And then you break this one down the same way. And so basically what you have is two walls that are 3 feet, 10 inches, whatever. Excuse me. You can combine that and say you have 7 feet worth of wall times what's the length of the bulkhead, right? The length of the bulkhead is this length, whatever that is. I think I can, oh no, we have to change the scale. The scale is different. And see, when you're looking at a set of construction documents and it's trying to tell me that that's 4 feet, that's obviously not 4 feet, right? 5 feet, 4.9. So that tells me, oh, something's wrong with the scale. But yeah, I was using the scale to measure this, right? And this scale is for every 3/4 of an inch, it's 1 foot, but I should have had it on this scale, which is much different. And so, yeah, the measurement's going to be different. Where the scale for this is, for every quarter of an inch, it's 1 foot. So I have to make sure I change the scale, and that's important, or else you'll be measuring stuff wrong. All right, now we can go back and see what's the actual length of that bulkhead length right there. If I click on it again, it's 15 feet. That makes a way more sense, right? So we can round that up to 15 feet times, well, we say 2 times these lengths. So now you see these lengths have changed because the scale has changed. And so scale is very important when you're looking at a set of construction documents that it is correct, because it's obvious the menu board bulkhead is not 12 feet. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so ceiling plan tells us all about our ceiling construction. If there's a section view there, you need to follow that section view so you'll have a good idea of the construction of that. And you see it can become complex, very much so. But when we're talking about framing, all we need are two dimensions. What's the length and what's the height? And for the ceiling plan, we're typically going to get areas. So we know the area of this bathroom area is about 200 square feet for the bathroom. And we cut off the area for this, so we would determine that area plus the wall construction here, wall construction there, wall construction there. That would be the ceiling in terms of our framer. And then if we're the acoustical ceiling tile person, we're going to measure the area of all of this, of the two different types. Okay, so this is the ceiling plan. It tells you all about the new ceiling construction. If we're the framer, we're looking for any drywall construction or that bulkhead construction. If we're the acoustical ceiling tile professional, usually they don't do the same thing. So if I'm doing the drywall, I'm usually not doing the ACT, or I might. It really depends. But we always break that down separately, of course. Okay, but the typical framer is not going to do the acoustical ceiling tile. Okay, so it shows us everything on the ceiling for reference. So we know if we are installing the acoustical ceiling tile, we know we have a couple less tiles because we're going to have a supply grill for the for the HVAC system, and a couple, a few have to be specialty made for the can lights that are going to be coming through that. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to know about the ceiling plan. All new ceiling construction. Each room is going to have a ceiling tag that tells you two things: the ceiling finish and the height of the ceiling. If you have any questions about any of the information, please make sure to visit our website, www.sfjohnsonconsulting.com, and fill out our online office hours, and we'll be happy to set some time aside for you to go over this one by one. But again, thank you for joining, and I will most definitely see you at the next class. Take it easy.